Dr. Lavinia Masters here, the namesake for House Bill 8, the Lavinia Masters Act in the state of Texas. I am coming to you not only as an advocate, a survivor, as a life coach, public speaker, and so much more. But today I'm coming to you as a wife. I'm coming to you as a person that is also considered or have an intimate partner in 33 years of marriage. And I'm coming to you today to discuss intimacy and relationships after sexual violence. It's a subject matter that I don't really hear much about. People really don't talk about it. Um, and we can really dive into this subject because it's great, it's massive, and I think it's something that needs to be touched upon or talked about. But I'm going to give you like 5 key things today. I'm not going to go into the entire uh, scenario of the lesson of what I want to teach or what I want to bring to you or your organization or your team or your school setting or whatever you think it would be beneficial for. But I want to give you just five brief synopsis of what I feel we should discuss after being a victim of sexual trauma. The first and most important thing to me is being open and transparent about your abuse. When you meet your partner, your individual that you're going to be involved with, and you figure this is it, I am going to marry him, I'm going to marry her, this is it, no one else will be involved, because I already know the uh, the stigma of not sharing the abuse or the things that happened to us in our past with everyone, and you're not obligated to do that with everyone. But I sincerely feel that if you are honest, um, and you are sincere with settling down with an individual, especially if you think this is the one. Not saying the first date. Some people say, "Oh, I knew the first time," um, but if you feel that it's getting to that space where you are open, it's a steady relationship. He may ask me to marry him, or she may ask me to marry them. I feel that the first thing we should do is to be open and transparent about the abuse. And I say that because when you walk into a relationship, and if an individual decides to marry you or decides to go steady with you because they see something long term within their relationship, and if you're not sharing something personal, yes, yet so traumatic and damaging to you and can be to that other individual, to me it's imperative that you share that, because it gives you a clear conscience that you're walking in without any surprises, without any blind spots. But it also gives them an opportunity to decide whether or not this is something that they are ready to embark with you on. Now I know we say if he loves me, she loves me, they'll accept it, right? That's not always the case, because my experience as a survivor of heinous rape and other sexual violence offenses against me was very traumatic upon me, and I had no idea that I had so many triggering points throughout my relationship. So it would not be fair to someone for you to say that you love that individual and that you are willing, or you do see the potential of you guys settling down, for you not to share that very important information with them, because it's like a deception. It's like, to me, like saying I'm withholding that I have children. I'm withholding that I have HIV. I'm withholding that once I marry you, I'll inherit $1 million, but I'm not going to give you any of the money. So it's just going into the whole relationship open and honest. Not doing that, you're leaving a gap open where that other individual can wiggle out, and rightfully so, because you would want them to come into a relationship that we're going to build on trust and love and not be totally honest with me. So that's the first thing that we address. The second thing is we will address if you are unsure, there is a trigger or struggle with you as a survivor after your sexual trauma, articulate that to that individual the best way you can. So, say I tell you, uh, Charles, I was raped at 13 years old. And Charles decided to say, okay, Lavinia, I still love you. I'm here for you. I still want to marry you. But if I feel within my heart of hearts, even if I don't feel this way, I think it's still fair to articulate, for me to articulate to Charles and say, Charles, look, this is a new thing. I've never been married. Or if I've had other relationships, things happen. I really didn't understand. But I want to be as open and honest as I possibly can with you and let you know that I am not sure if I still have triggers. You should know if you really still struggle with things, but sometimes we don't identify or we don't understand how those are triggers or how we do struggle. So the best way you can articulate to that individual, I'm not sure if I still have issues. I'm not still sure if I still have triggers. I know I get angry about certain things, and I'm not sure if I associate that with the trauma. But the best way you can articulate that to that other individual. So you guys can prepare together if something is not right. And you can decide if our love will be strong enough to endure. I'm pretty sure it can if you are honest and open in the beginning. The third thing we will embark on is don't be afraid to express yourself to the others so they can be prepared for those triggers. Basically, it kind of feeds off number two. If you have your triggers, don't be ashamed because you have come a long way to even enter into a relationship where you have shared that you've been a victim, that you've experienced this trauma. And not only have you done a great thing by doing that, but to open yourself to say that I'm not sure if I still have struggles. But if you begin to realize that you are having struggles, don't be afraid to express that to that individual. Not saying use it as an excuse for what, your behavior, because we still have to be accountable for ourselves and be honest with those that we want to embark on a long-term relationship with. But be honest with them and with yourself. And don't be afraid to do that. Because you can't help the things that happen to you. And sometimes we can't help our emotions. But if we identify and we're willing to articulate and speak about those things, maybe we can begin not only in the healing processes of those emotions, but we can readily identify those emotions and we can take accountability for our actions and we can talk them out and we communicate those to our significant others. So don't be afraid to do that. Don't think you're strange. Don't think you're odd. You're an outcast, or he's going to look at me, or she's going to look at me weird. But if they love you, and this is why it's important that you tell them in the beginning, because it's the domino thing. When they love you and they embrace everything about you, sickness and in health, this is part of a sickness. Trauma is a sickness. It's, to me, it's defined as a sickness. It's a disease. Give them an opportunity to understand the disease of trauma and everything that it brings or it has brought in your life. Be real with yourself and with them. So don't be afraid to express yourself. Even if you have to cry while you express yourself. Let them know. I'm having a trigger. I'm having a moment. Another thing, number 4, I would like to embark upon. If you've never been to any kind of counseling or therapy because of your abuse, allow your significant other in that marriage, or if you decide not to marry, I totally support marriage because it's a lot we're unpacking, and then because of what I believe. It's the morally right thing to do. But if you are involved together in that marriage, I recommend that you go to counseling and therapy together. Or you at least let them know that's what you want to do. And if they decide not to go with you, make sure they have the support of you going along. But I recommend them going at least a few sessions so they can understand. Not saying that you're not valid enough to let you know how I feel, but sometimes we can't even articulate what it means, how it affects us. And sometimes that third party or that other individual that is considered non-biased, that's considered well scripted or trained in this area, can help both of you be educated about trauma. Trauma informed and survivor centered. Sometimes it's better if somebody that's their expertise can explain that to you, can share that with you. And if you decide not to go to if you decide not to go to therapy or counseling, find you a life trauma coach, such as myself. And some of the things we can sit down and we can talk about individually, together, collectively, and work out. And last, be patient with your spouse, as this is a new thing for them. In other words, me as a survivor, be patient with Charles. Because if Charles have never dealt with an individual that has been a victim of sexual violence, or he has and he didn't understand, or it was never told to him that they were a victim, but the last female gave him pure trauma, and he had no idea. Be patient with them. And guess what else you have to be? Be gentle with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Don't self-sabotage yourself. Don't say, oh, I should have done this. Be gentle with yourself. Because you did a great thing. You made a great feat. You did an amazing breakthrough. A huge release by even telling that person from the beginning, when you knew that this was going to be serious, that this is what happened to me. And I trust you enough and I love you enough to share not only all of my love, all of my joy, but to share my pain and to share my traumas with you. Because I trust you enough to help me navigate it, to help me love me through my pain, to love me to a complete healing so I can be completely whole for you. So be gentle with yourself and be patient with them. Not only because this may be new to them, but you may also allow them to recognize that they too have traumas that have been unpacked, that they have to unpack. You may help them realize there may be traumas that they have yet to tell. They have been afraid to bring to the forefront. But they see the bravery in you. They see the courage in you. They see the love, overwhelming love that you have for them, to trust them enough to give you that trauma, that they may do the same thing for you. So be patient. Love is a beautiful thing. But if we allow it, it can be very scary when we try to intertwine trauma. The reality is we're not trying to intertwine the trauma. The trauma is already there in the midst of our love. We're trying to unwind it and move it out of that space and put it somewhere where it's healthy so we can know how to deal with the particular traumas. So when more traumas arise in our lives or in our relationship, when we lose parents, or if we lose children, we have miscarriages, things happen that may put a strain on our relationships, our marriages. We already have done a great feat of knowing how to unpack or unwind something so traumatic as sexual violence, abandonment, rejection, all those things that may have came with it or that were separate. And it helps us in the long run. So, with that being said, I am Dr. Lavinia Masters, your advocate, your life coach, your survivor, um, public speaker, all those great things. And I wanted to put this video out there because I want you to have the opportunity to continue to create healthy, thriving, loving relationships. A lot of times for us to get there, we have to go there. We have to dig deeper before we go higher. And the reason why we're going deeper because we're going to the roots. We're going to find out what the root causes are. If they're bad roots, we're going to pull them up. And we're going to expose them so we can have growth. That's why I go deeper, to go higher. Going to the roots so my tree can grow and bear the fruits that it deserves to bear. So my family can grow and have the healthy fruits that it deserves to have there in my relationship. You can reach me at laviniamasters.com is my website. If you want me in a capacity of Hope Saves to empower victims of sexual violence, you can go to hopesavesministry.org. That's HOPE Saves, SAVES. Sexual Assault Victim Empowered to Speak. Ministry.org. If you want me in the capacity of a public speaker, advocate, as far as doing this work and other work, you go to laviniamasters.com, consulting, all of that great stuff. laviniamasters@gmail.com is also my email address. All of my information, you go to my website. Like I said, I have Linktree, I have Instagram, and I have Facebook, Lavinia Masters. Reach out to me. I am here for you. I'm here to support you in your marriage, in your relationships, in your business organizations, creating healthy boundaries within your schools, your colleges, your universities. This topic can be used anywhere. And there are also there's also other topics that I discussed. You can see those on my website. And I also do consulting for directors and actors as far as dealing with survivors that are on the set that have been victimized by survivors. You will be amazed at some of the scenes that they have to play. Sometimes are mentally debilitating or triggering for them, but because it's a job or something they feel they have to do, it's a career choice they made, they may really struggle with certain things. So I can either come in as a director, you as a director, producer, and educate you, as well as the staff and as well as your team, to keep things in the right perspective as far as trauma informed and survivor centered, so we can understand, maybe notice triggers, notice things that are not right, so they can face those things, face those fears, or face those things that's holding them back of giving you 100%. 1,000% of their capabilities as an actor or actress. So reach out to me. I am here for you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening on my impromptu video. But I wanted to put something out there to share, and I really want to share this about marriage, because marriage is something, when we talk about sexual violence, that we really don't bring up a lot when it comes to relationships in marriage. And I want to be one of the ones on the forefront of being able to discuss this, and how we can identify what is healthy, what's unhealthy, and the boundary lines of abuse, even in this aspect. So feel free to reach out to me. You can go online, look me up, laviniamasters.com, hopesavesministry.org, or laviniamasters@gmail.com. Like I said, Linktree, all of those good things. I'm out there. I thank you for your time. I appreciate you listening to me, and trusting me with helping you to navigate through your pain after trauma and living your life on purpose. Thank you. Bye-bye.